Hi, Clarence Ferguson, Free Body Club. I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, an insurance expert, Guy Miotke. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Well, I wanted to say thanks for the opportunity to talk about me. It's one of my favorite subjects. I know we're here to talk about some other stuff too. I'm Guy Miotke. I'm with All Your Insurance. We're an independent insurance agent. And I think we have a special knowledge about what we're going to be talking about today, which is the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. We actually stand to lose money through this proposition because we will not be able to sell some of our existing clients their policies because they're going to go into the exchange, and we're okay with that because we think it's really important that this the Affordable Care Act actually take effect and really help the millions of people who really need it.
Okay. There's obviously a lot of information out there. A lot of people are saying different things. You hear things on the news, you hear things on Facebook, Twitter, all the social feeds. Can you just take a few minutes and just kind of debunk some of the main myths? We don't have time to do everything.
Right.
Just some of the main ones that people need to be aware of.
Yeah, we would be here for a long time if we took down all of the different talking points that are out there, and they are just that, they're talking points. They're not really based in reality, if you will. There's some things that are legitimate concerns, and then there's other things that are just completely baseless. A lot of the things, the main thing you hear is it's a government takeover of healthcare. And I really could not find a more opposite definition of what Affordable Care Act is. What it really does is it creates rules for health insurance. Well, those rules were already being instituted and created way before Affordable Care Act came into place. There was always regulation over what constitutes a health insurance policy and what they had to do. But it just kind of gives it some strength for us as consumers to make sure that we aren't going to be rejected for pre-existing conditions, that we're going to be able to leave our job and still have affordable care available to us. So that there's a lot of conversation around, well, it's government insurance. No, it's private health insurance, and there's an exchange to bring in the free market and allow all of those different insurance companies to compete for my business. That's really the crux of what the Affordable Care Act instituted. And then again, it put into place regulations and strengthened existing regulations. It didn't say that insurance is something that is going to solve all your problems. It just said you need insurance, and the way to do that is through a private insurance company. It puts some mandates that you have to buy insurance, and people look at that as like, well, that's the end of the world. We have to buy insurance. But, you know, we sell auto insurance and life insurance and home insurance, all these other types of insurance. And the last time I checked, no one is saying that because you have to buy auto insurance, that it's a government takeover of auto insurance. It just says you have to do the responsible thing and buy auto insurance to protect someone else in the event that you were to get into an accident. Very similar. You have to buy health insurance to protect the general masses from your particular malady, whatever it might be. You need to know it's taken care of without causing you to go to the emergency room. And that's really what this is about, stopping emergency rooms from being the primary source of care for the uninsured. Because that's why our health insurance is so expensive in this country. And so by getting them into a primary care doctor and giving them the option of having that, that's really what Affordable Care Act put in place.
Okay. Me as a small business owner, one of the things I hear a lot is bad for small businesses. How does it affect?
A jobs killer, right?
It's a job killer, exactly.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different ways that I can attack that, but I'll start with just some facts.
Okay.
Individuals who were already getting insurance through their employers are going to continue to get insurance through their employers more often than not. 98% of businesses that were providing health insurance yesterday are going to be providing insurance tomorrow, because that's a benefit of attracting talent, is you have to provide those benefits. It's one of those things of how you make sure that you're always attracting and hiring the best talent available, is you give those benefits. The Affordable Care Act, when they come in and they say it's a jobs killer, well, people who are 30 hours a week or more are now considered full-time, if you will, the Affordable Care Act would say now you need to provide health insurance for them. So businesses looked at that and went, there is a great economic opportunity here. It wasn't limited or created by Affordable Care Act. It was used as cover to say, I'm going to make an economic decision. I'm going to take these individuals who are working 32 hours, and I'm going to move them down and save the money. That was an economic decision.
Okay.
That wasn't brought in place because they had to buy them health care. They should have been buying health care all along, in my opinion, but it was used as cover to make a business decision, an economic business decision, and say it was because of Obamacare.
Mhm.
They made an economic decision.
Okay.
That was going to be made because of profit and loss. They just had a convenient scapegoat in the Affordable Care Act. In my opinion, it's quite the contrary for small business owners, people who employ less than 50 people. We now have an opportunity to provide health insurance that is way more defined. In other words, I can give you X number of dollars as an employee, and you can go into the health exchanges created by the Affordable Care Act, and you can buy insurance that's guaranteed to be issued regardless of pre-existing conditions. In yesteryear, the only way I could provide health insurance that would guarantee to accept everybody with pre-existing conditions is to go into a group health plan, where my costs as a business owner were uncapped.
Mhm.
As health insurance went up, I had to pay more.
Okay.
Now I have a defined contribution. I'm going to give you this. We're going to make sure that it's enough to get you coverage through the free market. People competing for your business, it will be. And now my costs are capped. So as a small business owner, that's a great benefit for me. That creates stability for my future. It gives me predictability for my future. Quite the opposite of the talking points. Another myth that we can debunk. Businesses don't know, and because they don't know, they're not hiring. Now, those are economic decisions that businesses are making under the guise of we have Affordable Care Act, and that's why we can't hire, or that's why we have to cut hours, or whatever the case might be. Are there legitimate business concerns there? Absolutely, but they're economic concerns. They're not based in Obamacare.
So who are some of the biggest opponents of Obamacare? Because you don't hear any of the insurance companies talking about it. It's really, either politicians or different business people, or really just the talking heads.
Right.
Who's really
Right.
opposed to it and why?
I think you hit it on right. The people who have a reason to create energy around this are the ones who are most against it. They have a vested interest in making sure that they sell news, that they attract contribution money, that they are creating a negative energy simply to have a talking point to create a platform that they can run on. If you really get down into it, the American people are totally for this. There's a statistic out there that 67% of Americans are against the Affordable Care Act. Well, that's not true, because of that 67%, 50% of them, 30% of that 60%, 50% of those people are actually upset that it didn't go far enough. They want a single payer. So if you say the law is imperfect, I would agree with that. If you say that people on both sides wanted things to be different, I would agree with that. Do people want it to go away? I would completely disagree with that. And so I think the American people are the ones who are most important in this. Who's against it? People who have a vested interest to make sure that they are building off of that viewpoint. Politicians, the news reports, those individuals. Who's for it? The vast majority of Americans. People specifically who have kids who now can keep them on their plan. People who have pre-existing conditions who now can get guaranteed acceptance on a policy. Small businesses that can have a defined contribution instead of this limitless amount that they have to when it's a defined benefit. There's so many people that are for it, and as more people start to understand and get the inner workings of it, they become even more for it. So I would say that the people who are against it, I don't know that they're really truly against it, or that they just really are trying to sell an opinion so that they can be known as the person who's against it.
Very good. I think my last point is there was a lot of news basically that people tried to go online, they couldn't get on, which is really funny that you're saying that all the people were against it. They had, I think, in the first 2 days, 7 million people tried to sign up.
Right.
And obviously the system crashed. So are there resources and ways people can find out instead of listening to the talking heads?
Well, they can talk with an individual like myself who, even though someone could go to the exchange and I could lose them as a client, there's also people who are going to be coming to me and want to have guidance and help, and I can help them with that. So a professional can help them navigate some of those waters and navigate some of those choices. There's also an 800 number at healthcare.gov, and in that 800 number you can sign up without having to go through any of the online portal whatsoever. And the other thing too is, listen, I have an iPhone. And when the new update came out, I was told the system was down. And 3 weeks later, I got to update my iPhone. It sent me a little notice and said, hey, you can update your iPhone now. And I felt so privileged that I got to wait 6 hours for my phone to download the update, right?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
But you know what? I wasn't there saying, Apple needs to go away because I couldn't update my phone.
Mhm.
So a lot of people have iPhones. It took a while.
Right.
It eventually got updated, and it got updated in an appropriate amount of time before I lost any service. There was no danger. The same thing is true of this. You have until March 15th to sign up. You have up to December 15th to make it effective for January 1st. A lot of people went into it and crushed the system. I will tell you that is like your point, a vote of confidence for that or not. The one statistic that sticks out is that in New York, they had estimated that 2.5 million people were going to need to get health care through the exchange. 22 million hits over the course of the first week.
Wow.
Well, no system can absorb that.
Right.
There isn't a system out there that can absorb that kind of. So I think through patience and understanding, that is unfortunately the limitations of the technology that no one could foresee. No one thought there was going to be 10 times as many users as there would be. And again, a huge vote of confidence for it, that there's a demand for it out there. So it stinks. I want to know what my rates are. I want to know what I can offer my employees. I'm frustrated by it. It needs to get fixed. And I think it will get fixed. It's gotten better. You can go on there now and instead of immediately getting hey, we're closed for service, it's saying be patient, and it'll eventually deliver you to a page that gives you some information. And right now it's an all-day sucker, as my dad used to say. It's going to take a while to get through it. They're improving it. They're getting better. It's going to move forward, and it's going to happen at a time before anyone actually needs to make that critical decision, in my opinion. So.
All right, well, that's all the questions for now. Appreciate your time.
Hey, man, appreciate it.
And as we need more information, we'll be sure to ask for your advice and opinion. Do you want to give a website out? Or
sure. People can come out to www.ayinc, that's A as in apple, Y as in yellow, N as in Nancy, C.com. And that's our website. You can go on there and make a request to talk with me, or you can fill out a form for a quote, or there's just lots of informational resources in there, including links to healthcare.gov. And healthcare.gov is definitely your friend and ally as you're looking to get information about this. It's definitely something that has a lot of, beyond just getting the quote, it has a lot of resource and answers a lot of questions for you as well.
Okay. All right. All right. That's it for now.